Hi, welcome back. In this session, I will show you about cache scope. Let's understand caching in Mule and types of caching is available and about in-memory and persistent caching. Cache scope demo. Caching means storing useful data across the project flows and the cached data available among the flows of project. In last sessions we have saw and we have created variables. What is the scope of a variable? The data stored in variable is accessible until the flow execution completed. Whereas I want some static data or some lookup data over all the flows. Then how we can access the data over all the flows? Using caching mechanism. Suppose in a flow I can set data into caching, then after that I can able to use that cached data among all the flows. So this is also called as global scope. The caching mechanism is also called as global scope. Coming to the caching, we can do in two ways. We have two ways. One is default, nothing but cache scope that we are discussing now, and one more is using object store. Coming to the object store, we can able to do caching in two ways. One is in memory, one more is persistent. We will see about cache scope in this session, and in next session we will see about object store. Coming to the cache scope, it is for storing and reusing frequently called data. We can use a cache scope to reduce the processing load on the Mule instance, and we can increase the response time. Let me explain. Assume I have developed a REST service and which will fetch the employee and respond back the employee object. First time I made the request for one employee, then response came. Again I made the request for one employee, again same response came. Again I made the request for one employee, again same response came. Instead of that, if we use cache scope, it will store the response for specific request in the caching. Then whenever duplicate request is coming, then it responds back. If we don't use cache scope, it always been hitting the database, then getting the object of the one employee. Whereas if we keep cache scope, it eliminate the database call over the duplicates of request. How caching mechanism works internally? On each request, the caching mechanism calculates a key using below algorithm, that is SHA-256 key generator plus SHA-256 digest. So based on the input request, it prepares the key, and whatever the response has responded back, that will be stored as the value at end of the flow. And in the next request, if we are getting same request again, then the key will be calculated. Then caching mechanism checks the key is already available in the caching. Yes. Instead of executing the flow, it will respond back the stored response. If I am sending the unique record again, one more request with another employee ID like 2. During the time, it will calculate again the key. Then it will check in the caching whether that key exists. No. Then it will continuous flow to the database call, then response back. If the request met with the key, then it is called as cache it. And if the request didn't met with a key, then it called as cache miss. Let's see a demo for a better understanding of the same cache scope. I have developed a simple REST service and named the project as caching demo. Here I have taken URI as cache demo and EMP ID as a URI parameter. And in the start log, I am printing started flow, and then I am consuming one of the service which is available in online for free. If I RecRes, it is called as RecRes API, REQRES. If I click on this, we have these many REST services are available. I am going to consume single user service. So if I click on this, this is the URL, contains host, sub URI and URI parameter, and these kind of responses we are going to get. I am consuming this service by passing the URI parameter, and I have taken placeholder as user ID here, and URI parameter mapped with the EMP ID, which URI parameter I was getting over my service. And here setting the response, whatever the data is coming from the payload, I am just responding it. And in the end log, I mentioned complete flow. Let me show you the execution. Let me run it again. The application has deployed. Let's go to Postman and make the request. We can see the response for employee ID 1. Let me make the one more request. Let me make the one more request. Let me make the one more request. On each request, I am calling this service and getting the response. Now, if I use cache scope, then let's see how it works. Let me drag and drop cache scope and move this service call and response section to this, and let me have a logger inside cache scope. Let me put as cache start, save. Let me have one more logger to say that cache end. Let's save it. Let it get redeployed. So what will happen when I make the first request? The one request will come to the cache scope. Now if we see under the cache scope, we are using default caching strategy. When we use default caching strategy, the key will be generated using this algorithm. And the cache, while request comes, it creates the key and keeps into the caching. When this cache responds back the response, then it stores that response to that particular key. It assigns to the key. And in the second time, if I am making same request again, then it will check whether the key, it again generates the key for same request and the key exists in the caching. Then it will respond back the response instead of hitting the service again. Let's see that. Now let me make request with 1. Now we enabled caching. Let me send. Since it is the first request, then it hit the service call. We can see that started flow, cache start, cache end, completed flow. Let me clear the console. That means now it went to the complete flow. Now let me send the same request again. Send. Now if I go here, I can able to see only started flow, completed flow. This block has not executed. What happened? The cache has calculated the request key in the before request, then stored the response payload as a value for that key in caching. And in the next time, when it made the request, it has generated the key using same algorithm and checked whether the key exists in the caching. Yes, it exists. Then it responded back the existing response so that it evaded making the call. Coming to cache scoping, we can get a doubt then how this caching memory can be or cached values will get free. So by default, caching saves or keeps the data into in memory. That means heap space of RAM. into the RAM memory. Whenever we restart the application, the cache scope automatically clears the data inside the caching. Even we can also store the cache data into persistent storage, but we need to use the object store inside the cache to store the data into persistent. What is the difference between in-memory and persistent? In-memory means RAM into heap space. Whenever we want to get the data, it would be faster to fetch the data from in-memory, from the heap space of RAM. Coming to the persistent, it is a hard disk kind of memory. So it need to perform IO operations internally. That takes considerable time. So whenever we want to deal with small amount of data, then go for in-memory. Whenever we want to deal with huge amount of data need to be cached, then go with persistent memory. So we have saw the example with the default caching strategy. What it do in the default caching strategy, it can able to generate the own key using a SHA algorithm and stores the value corresponding to it. Even we can customize it. So we can go to reference to a strategy, click on plus, and here, as I told you, we can use the object store if we wish to go with the persistent storage. For now, we don't need it. Let's see remaining options. Default means it takes same algorithm to generate the key, whereas we can also able to generate the keys by our own. That is key expression. Let me give expression as my input parameter. So whatever the parameter I am getting, I want to make that as a key. For that key, the cache scope will store the response from now. So that is emp id. Now if I send the 1, the key will be 1 and the corresponding value will be the response for this particular 1 request. Even we can see key generator. We can use key expression as our own key or key generator to generate a key, but we need to write the Java code. But mostly we don't get into this. If required, that can be doable. Click on OK. And now let's save it. Instead of default key generation, now we are assigning our own key for the caching. Now let's see the execution. The application has redeployed. Now let me make the request as 2. Now what will happen in the first request? It has executed, started flow, cache start, cache end, completed flow. Means the complete flow has executed. Now inside caching we have a key called 2. For the 2 key we have value as this response. Now if I am going to make the same request again, it will automatically get from the cache. Let me clear the console and go here, click on send. Now we can see started flow, completed flow. That means the caching has not executed. So this way we can define our own keys in caching using reference to a strategy. Let me switch it back to use a default caching strategy, and here we can have one more option called filter. So whatever the filter we keep here, for those only caching will be enabled. For rest of the request, the caching will not be enabled. Let me put attributes dot URI params dot emp id. When emp id is equal to some 3, then only I want to cache. For remaining employee IDs, I do not want to cache it. Suppose if I get 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For any employee, I do not want to do caching. I wanted to do caching for only 3rd employee. Let's see. We can use that filter concept. Hope it deployed. Now let me make the request for 3 first. Let me clear the console and make the request. Now we can see for 3 employee, it went inside cache start, cache end. Now if I make the request again for 3, what will happen? Let's send. We can see that started flow, completed flow. That means for only 3 employee, we would able to achieve the caching. Now let me send 4 here. Send. Now we see the complete flow has executed inside the caching also. Cache start, cache end. Let me clear it. Now let's make the request again. We can see again it went inside and executed cache start, cache end. That means since we added the filter here, it allows only the third employee to cache. It won't cache any other employees since we added as filter. So this way we work with cache scoping. To be honest, in my experience, I never came across through usage of cache scope. I'm not sure whether we will use further or not. Which scenario we can use these cache scopes are: assume a customer is impatient and he made the payment and he didn't get any status back. He is impatient, again he submitted the payment. During the times, we can make use of cache scope to restrict duplicate requests. The advantage of having cache scope is the performance will be increased. Now for third employee, let's send. We can see that started flow, completed flow. It has taken around 523 milliseconds. Let me send it again. It taken 8 milliseconds. Let me send it again. It taken 40 milliseconds. Whereas let me send 4, which we do not want to cache using filter. It taken 60 milliseconds. Let me send again. It taken 27. Let me send again 31. That means minimum the new request is taking 20 milliseconds about to make the other system call. Whereas if we do caching, then the response time for the next duplicate request is very quick. That's all about this session. Thank you. See you in next session. Happy learning.